My mic wasn't on, so I'll say it again. So hi guys, I'm Erin, an all natural plant based licensed esthetician. I am located in LA, just outside of Gardena. And in addition to me loving skin, being absolutely in love with my work, I am in love with business. I am in love with being a business owner. I am in love with my story as a business owner. And I've come to the conclusion that I am also in love with stories of other business owners. So this is season 2 of the Get It Done podcast. So I have a new name. I am no longer cussing. I'm working on not cussing anymore. So I just changed the name. It is the Get It Done podcast with Erin. So I am um working with other entrepreneurs in season 2 to hear their stories, and to allow them to share. Season 1, like I said before, it was all about me, what I was doing, what I'm doing in business and other personal areas of my life. So I'm opening up the platform to other people because I want to hear what y'all got going on. So today, we have a guest, Doriana is, I believe, how we pronounce her name. So what I'm doing is I am basically interviewing people that I have never talked to before. So most of these people, unless, like I said before, they are one of my friends, um, I don't know them. I don't know what their business is. I find that the conversation is more interesting when I don't know anything about them. I would prefer to talk to somebody that I don't know what they have going on. So I'm going to invite her now. Uh-oh. Did I do it? Okay, I did it. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm really good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great.
We did
We
it.
did. We did. We had enough
Okay.
little setbacks there, but we got it going.
Yes, we figured it out.
Yep.
So, I just did my intro and I just let everyone know what's going on. They do know that um I'm just getting to know you. This is my first time actually talking to you. So is it pronounced Dorina?
Dorina. Dorina.
Oh, okay.
There you
That's
go.
cute. So you can just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, well, hello everybody. I guess you're out in LA. I'm on
I
the East
am.
Coast, so it's a whole different world over here. And my name is Dorina, and I am on a mission to get families back to the table. I feel like
Nice.
it's the bottom building block of society, and we need to get it back. They say that when the foundation crumbles, the building falls, and we need to have a strong foundation, and it all starts at home at the table.
I agree.
Yeah. So
Mm.
I do that by way of what started out. It used to be cooking classes. I grew up in the restaurant business, and then it kind of evolved into me taking. It started out as me taking some people from my cooking classes to Italy, to my hometown, to do a cooking course. But you see, I'm from a really special town. It's kind of famous, and it's in a very small way. So if
Okay.
that makes sense. So I'm really excited to be on a show in California because I want this thing to be nationwide, to go across the country. So this is like my first step cross country. So
Nice.
there's a thing called the Rosetto effect. Okay.
Okay.
It's the phenomenon by which people live longer, healthier, happier lives by the way they live in community. Okay. So it's all about connections. So I'm going to go back in history here for a second, but in the 1880s, people from this little village in Italy immigrated to the United States, and they landed in the slate. They landed in eastern Pennsylvania, working in the slate mines, and they were kind of discriminated against, and they were kind of pushed aside. So they moved out of that town, and they started their own town adjoining the town they were working in, and they named it Rosetto after the town in Italy. Well, this is 1880, so they lived there, just this little group of Italians in this little village in Pennsylvania. Well, fast forward to the 1960s, the doctor serving the town told another doctor that nobody in this town had any heart disease, and a lot of other ailments they were lacking too. So they go study it. They're like, what are they eating? And but they found that they were eating salted cured meats. They were eating, food fried in lard. They're smoking, they're drinking, they're happy and healthy.
They're like, what's going on here?
Yeah. So then they study it deeper and they're like, well, what they ultimately attribute it to was their lifestyle. It was their community centered, church centered, family centered life. I say it's life around the table, not necessarily what you're eating, but how you're eating together
Right.
across from each other. And they said that the people nourished each other and they called it the Rosetto effect. And it was, like I said, it's this phenomenon that they just, it was, when they called it an out, and there's a book by Malcolm Gladwell called Outliers, and it's this story is the first chapter, because it was like an outlier community. It was during that time frame and it was in that situation, and these people had great health. Now when they went to revisit it 30 years later, they found that they had become, they no longer had the good health. They no longer were healthier than the rest of the country. And they said it was because they had become Americanized. So isn't
Oh,
that sad that Americanization and ill health go hand in hand? That's kind of sad. We need to
yes.
get it back, but it really comes from connections, And so, I mean, did you grow up with eating around the table also with your family?
Um,
Not so much.
Sometimes. Not
Uh
not because we're very small. It was just me, my mom, my dad, and my sister.
huh.
So it wasn't their work schedules. At some point in life, my dad worked in Texas and he would only come home on the weekends. And when he was home on the weekends, he was just running around. So it just depends on, I guess, what time of life it was. For sure,
Hmm.
every Sunday, we did get together as a family after church.
Right.
My auntie, my grandmother, they were always cooking. So that has always been a thing, which they still do now, but not
Yep.
a every night thing, though.
So what I tell people is there's 21 meals a week. Take out the 5 weekdays when people are at school and at work. There's breakfast, there's weekend lunches, there's all the dinners. So I urge people to try to sit at the table, those other 16 meals. In the morning, I have 6 kids. So talk
Nice.
about crazy house.
And I've always wanted a large family, but only for like holidays once everyone's grown. So
Well,
we'll
it's
have
always
nice Christmases.
it is fun with it is a lot of fun with a big family. But with my 6 kids, it was always crazy. I joke around, it was like an episode of Chopped, like every day for 20 years. I
Oh,
mean, it
how
was
funny.
crazy. So but we did it. And even though breakfast might be 5 minutes, it was still a moment of human connection. It's
Of you guys
really, it's
together.
not necessarily about sitting down always for 2 hours and having lots of conversation. Sometimes it's just seeing somebody's face in front of you, having a moment of conversation, even if it's like, what time are you going to be home from school, or what's going on after school or after work or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's connection. It's really about the human thing, us touching and being up close and stuff,
I
and
love
hugging.
that.
So
So,
so anyway, so my business is, I mean, and it's a business, so you're saying here you're going after entrepreneurs, and I am, but I call it my mission. My mission is to revive that Rosetto effect, to get families back to the table. I feel like it lessens, because one of the things that they said from that town in Pennsylvania, but they not only were physically healthier, they were mentally and emotionally healthier too. There was
yeah,
like
because they had each
nobody.
other.
Yeah. And it's just a good feeling when you've got somebody to talk to. Like, if the kid comes home from school and somebody was mean to him that day, or they failed a test, you're sitting at the table at dinner, you can go over that stuff. You can say, let's get you a tutor if it's, not doing good in math. Let's invite that kid over who wasn't too nice. Let's invite him over for cookies or something, because
Yeah.
sometimes they're the ones that need love too,
Yeah. They
and
had someone to do life with.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I teach people um, to get their kitchens prepared for success, and to set the stage for conversation and connection at the table. So I guess you could call that coaching. I also teach people actually how to cook. And I do take people on these trips to Italy, to the original Rosetto, and where they can see this lifestyle in action, because they still live that way over there. So it's
Nice.
and it's an off the beaten path peasant village. It is really truly kind of, I say it's kind of locked in time. They've got all the modern stuff of that we do, phones and all that, but they still live in that old traditional way where they, they sit down to eat. They don't, you never like, I bet you they do the same thing in LA as they do in New York. They stop in to get a slice of pizza and they're walking down the street eating a slice of pizza, right?
Or
You'll
driving,
never,
yeah.
yeah, right. You know that if you went to Italy, and I don't know how it is in the other European countries, but in Italy, you will never see somebody walking down the street shoving a piece of pizza in
Eating
their.
food. Yeah.
Absolutely no way. They will, like, you might see them with an ice cream cone, but that's a whole different animal. But other than that, I mean, that's it. You will not see people eating a slice of pizza or eating in the car. No way. They have too much respect for the food and then for themselves and each other. They sit down and, even rest stops. They have real, you go and get like an espresso at the rest stop because you need that boost of caffeine to keep
Right.
driving. You walk up to the register, you pay, you take your little ticket over to the to the bar. It's like the coffee bar. And then they give you a real coffee cup with an espresso. You put your sugar in it, you stand there, you stir it, you drink it, you go.
Oh, how
You
cute.
don't, there's no like giant 20-ounce to go cup.
Oh, right.
It's
It- It's
crazy.
it's a complete opposite of Starbucks.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think they tried to do a Starbucks, I think in Milan, and I don't think it went well. Because
Oh, how
they
cute. Because
make
it's a different culture.
it's absolutely, and
Yeah.
they really, they just passed this stuff recently that, like, have you heard about that thing where they're like manufacturing like lab grown meat now?
Oh, yeah. And they're gonna start selling it in the restaurants.
And they don't have to tell you. It's like
Ew.
not required by law for them to, like, the packages, if you buy it at the grocery store, it's not required by law to label it. And
Oh,
I
wow.
don't know if the restaurants are going to tell you,
Yeah,
but
they're not gonna tell you.
Italy banned, they said they will not allow lab grown meat because their whole culture is about food, and it's like
Yeah.
they're such purists, which I'm so happy about. I appreciate that because I spend a lot of time there. So,
That is so funny. And you just brought that up because I know at the end of last year we were hearing a lot about it. I forgot all about it.
yeah,
I
I
forgot
just
all
read
about the
something else
lab
about it today.
meat.
Yeah, it's crazy. So,
So what got you cooking? Was it your mom?
well,
Cause you know how sometimes, sorry to cut you off, but you know how
oh,
sometimes like our mom, she'll be like super into stuff and we're like, Mom, like, no, I don't want that. Or like, how did you continue it on?
well, I think it was more, I mean, my mom's a good cook, but my grandmother was a
Oh yeah.
great cook.
Yeah,
And
grandmas are
I
the
was
best.
like really, really attached to my grandmother.
Me
And
too.
so I used to sit with her and, watch her make meatballs and bread her cutlets and do all these things. And I learned by watching, and I learned by sitting with her, and I wanted to cook like her. I wanted to be her.
Aw.
And then and I also grew up in an Italian restaurant. And so and we had a great chef, and I used to stand, I was like, I think I was in like 7th or 8th grade maybe. So what are you, 13ish, 12, 13? I
Yeah.
would stand back in the kitchen and I would just watch, because I was too young to be working like
Hands
behind the
on.
line or anything, but I wasn't too young to watch and absorb. And basically I apprenticed myself to
Nice.
watching our chef and learning how he did everything. So I learned a lot of different things because even though I'm all Southern Italian, and it's the Southern Italian cuisine is really different from the Northern Italian cuisine. So it's almost like they're two separate countries.
Nice.
And the Southern Italian people are we're the nicest ones.
How funny. I'm sure they'll have the opposite to say.
Well, no, I don't know. I'm just kidding. But
So
no, I
how
have,
long have you been in business? I'm sorry.
that's okay. I different parts of my business have been going on forever. Like I started teaching people how to cook when I was 19. So that's a
Nice.
long time. One of my friends in college was like, Dorina, teach us how to cook. We're all broke. We can't cook, and it's too expensive to eat out and this and that. And they were in their apartments and, down they went to school in DC, and I was right there in Maryland. And so we got together at my friend's house, and I taught all these college girls how to make all the pasta sauces because pasta's cheap. And so if
Yeah.
you can make all the sauces, you can,
Switch it up.
make a. So it was like this all day affair. And now I do that like same class in like an hour. But anyway, time. But between growing up in the restaurant and then I had my own restaurant, I guess it was about 10, 12 years ago. I had my own restaurant up in New Jersey.
I hear the
Um,
restaurant business is tough.
yeah. Well, I grew up in a restaurant that was like marble floors and chandeliers, very, the waiters in tuxedos and all that stuff. And all I ever wanted was like a little hole in the wall with a chalkboard menu, and this is what's fresh today. And
Simple.
so that's what I got, and I loved it. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
So, but then I got out of it because I didn't want to have a brick and mortar here because I started doing the trips, and I just love being able to
Get up and go.
get up and go. So I was doing cooking classes, private and groups. And then I guess I started doing the classes kind of more regularly, I guess about 10, 12 years ago. And
Nice.
then the trip started in 2017. And now we're kind of expanding it because I was just doing these like cooking trips, and then they became heritage trips because people of heritage of the town found me. And so then I was taking people who'd never been there because their grandparents were like from that original town, that
Nice.
they left 100 years ago and nobody ever went back. So I've been taking people and showing them our heritage. And then other people of, just people who aren't Italian, just all kind of people coming. And
Yeah.
now this year, we're adding to it. We're going to have a writer's workshop. So my
Nice.
friend Donna is, well, she's my writing coach too, but we've become very, very good friends. So she came with me in October, and she's going to be running the writer's workshop this coming October. And then this May, I'm joining forces with a gal from the next town who's also lives in New Jersey, but next town in Italy next to mine. She's a musician and a music professor at the university, her and another gal, and they're going to they actually play the harp. Now it's going to very, very small niche,
Okay.
okay, but they're
Fancy.
running. They're going to have a harp. They're going to have a harp festival in the town next to mine, and I'm going to
Nice.
run the tour part of it, and they're going to run the music part of it. So it's going to be very
How
interesting.
cool. So
Yeah,
the writers workshop, what are you doing, like cookbook? What are you writing?
no, it's for anybody. So if anybody watching is a writer or an aspiring writer, or you're writing and you're blocked and you're stuck, I'll tell you the reason why this came to pass was because I love to write, but over the years here with 6 kids and with trying then now being an entrepreneur and trying to live this, do all these different things, my head is full. And when I'm here, I'm running constantly. When I'm in Italy, for some reason, I can breathe. My life is so much calmer. I'm so
Get
much more
relaxed.
relaxed. And the words just flow. I can sit there. I can sit in the middle of the piazza, the town, down in the town square, like sit in front of one of the cafes with people walking by, with people stopping to talk to me. And I'm still typing. I'm like, and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, writing, and I keep going because the
Maybe
thoughts,
that's where I need to go.
it's crazy. They just flow. And so I thought, this is a great place for like a writer's workshop, a writer's retreat, where people can come and just clear their mind in this little village in the mountains and just feel like one with their pen or their laptop or whatever. And so when
Nice.
Donna came this year, she's like, oh my, she had an idea in her mind what it was all about. And then she got there and she's like, oh, I'm scrapping everything I have. Wow. Look at this spot. Is inspiration here, inspiration there. So, we do. So now we're expanding. Next year, I'm hoping to add some other things like health and wellness. Maybe my son's a photographer, so that kind of makes me think, let's do a photography workshop, an
Nice.
artist retreat. So we're thinking of different things. So it's in the planning stages. We've got like 20 million ideas. We got to pick out the couple that are going to work, but
Nice.
yeah.
How many times have you gone since you started?
Oh my gosh. Well, I went to preschool there. So, I mean, if you want to count from when I started going to Italy, it's been
No,
a lot of time.
since you've been doing the classes
I
and
have taken 17 groups since,
nice. I
since
love that.
2017. So yeah, I started in June of 17, and the last group I just took was in October, end of October. And so that was my 17th group in October right now. And
Nice.
that was skipping COVID year.
Oh,
So actually a year and a half.
nice.
So it took me a while to recover from that. So we're just kind of coming back, but I didn't quit. And I'm going to say the beauty of the pandemic for me
It was a
Even though
beautiful
my
thing for
my
me.
my cooking classes went to zero, my trips went to zero. And so then you have to pivot. And so talking about business, you have to always look, there's always a silver lining. So that's when I started my cooking show. So
Nice.
now I have a cooking show on, I do a Facebook live show that we then edit and we put on YouTube. So I've got it on Facebook, I've got it on YouTube. Now I'm starting to go live a little bit more on Insta. I'm trying to get live on Instagram. I usually just post pictures on Instagram, but I have a new college graduate. My daughter's like one of her best friends that she grew up with, who is my little editor. And but I told her, I said, I want you to do more. So she yelled at me the other day. We have to have a meeting. And I'm like, what? We've got to have a schedule. And so she's like, getting this, my 23-year-old is getting me in line here. She's like another daughter to me. Anyway, but we are, we're doing more. I do want to hit the younger community because I feel like it's my generation, and I think the generation above me, and even the one right after, I think it's just like on either side of me, we're the ones that kind of dropped the ball, and I think that, like, my kids can, all six of them can cook, but none of their
Nice.
friends can cook. And my kids teach their friends, you
Wait
know.
a minute. So how six kids? Like how I have zero children. I've been doing all this December made 4 years.
Okay.
There is what if I had one kid, I would be running around here with my head cut. Like how did you do it with six
I never
kids?
had one because I started with twins.
Oh wow.
So I've got five boys, and then I got my girl at the end. She's the
Oh, that sounds so much fun. I want
It
all
is a lot of
boys.
fun. My five boys were in 6.5 years, so it was like crazy, but
Nice.
I wouldn't trade it for the world. And you know what? I always knew I was supposed to do something else. And I had this always nagging feeling, but nothing was really coming of it, this thought, this feeling. I said something to a friend one time, and she goes, I said, I know I'm supposed to be doing something bigger or something else. And she goes, what do you mean? You've done big. You've got six kids. And I was just like,
You've done it
well,
real
yeah,
big.
but something outside of myself, I really, for me, this is my give back to the world. And so what happened was, it all started to come about when my youngest kid was finishing high school. And all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? God's time is not my time. And I needed to finish that job first, get her out of high school. She went to
Yeah.
nursing school. She's now a nurse. And it's more about, the right, everything has to happen in the right time. So you got to be patient, and you got to watch, and you got to listen, because the messages are out there.
Yeah.
And like I said, I spent years and years wondering what I was supposed to do. So all of a sudden, in January of 18, I realized who I am. I had done my first trip, and it was a culinary trip, because somebody in one of my classes said, when are you taking us to Italy? You're always going, talking about Italy. And I'm like, okay. I called my cousin over there who's a chef, and I said, you want to do something? He goes, yeah, let's do it. So we did it.
Nice.
January of 18, somebody contacted me that was of heritage of the town. And all of a sudden it started to make me think. I'm like, wait a minute, Roseto's got a cool story, and I'm supposed to share this. All of a sudden it started, and in this whole idea of the Roseto effect and the revival of it, and with the importance, not just teaching people how to cook because it's cheaper and healthier and tastier, but teaching them how to cook because it brings us together, and it brings us together as individuals, as families, as communities, and even in business. It's really important for business, because if you don't have a happy home life, you can't be a happy employee or a business owner or
Life
entrepreneur.
sucks if your home life isn't right.
Absolutely. Happy home, happy life, period.
Yes,
Everything.
I agree.
And success starts there. And I think that with kids, like, if you have kids and you eat at the table every day, and they learn conversation, because they're not just talking with kids on the computer, they're talking with you, they're talking with adults, and they're talking with their siblings,
Yeah.
and or anybody else who comes over to dinner, and they learn how to sit at a table, they learn how to go out to restaurants,
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff. They learn manners, they learn all these things, but they also learn that they are supported, that they've got somebody's got their back, It's
Yeah.
really important. And it's, in the grand scheme, it's lack of stress, really. So, I really feel it's an important thing that I'm supposed to be. So anyway, at that time when all this idea comes together and I'm like, back to the table movement, this is what I'm doing. I met a woman at a business networking meeting and she loved this idea. And so she goes, "Oh my goodness, I want you to come to this other event and meet some other people I work with." She worked for a newspaper. And I'm like, "All right." And it was like, okay, it was a Chinese New Year event at a retirement facility, like a retirement community, really nice one in Gaithersburg, Maryland. I'm like, "All right." I was half an hour away. I'm like, "I'll go." I love this girl. She was so nice. And we had just met and we clicked right away. So I'm driving there, and have you ever, as you're doing your business, have you ever like gone through that negative self-talk? What do I think I'm doing? Am I going to make, well, I started crying in the car all the way
Oh,
there. And I was like, wait a minute, who the hell do you think you are? Excuse my French. I know you just said you're not going to say curse words anymore,
I'm
but
trying not to. It's a
but,
struggle. I'm
but
trying.
I was talking to me and I'm like, who the hell do you think you are? You're just a mom. You think you're going to save the world. Yeah, like that's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And I'm bawling all the way there. Well, I get there and I just sit in the car for a couple of minutes. I'm like, all right, I got to go in. I told her I'm coming.
Gotta
I
pull
wipe my
yourself
face off.
together.
So I go in, and um, as we're walking down the hall, now she'd done events there, so she knew some people. And so we're walking down the hall, and this tall, older African American gentleman is walking towards us. And she stops to chat with him for a second, introduce Mr. Brown. Hi, nice to meet you. Okay, we went off our merry way. As we're walking away, she goes, Mr. Brown's got a cool story. And I said, what's that? And she goes, he was one of Martin Luther King's drivers. And I tell you, Erin, that moment, it's almost like I felt the whoosh of like I say, a smack in the back of the head from God saying,
Yeah.
see, one
We have
person
those
can
moments.
make
Yep. It's right.
one
It's
person
usually
can
right
make a
within that
difference.
time. Yep.
It was truly to me a message that one person can make a difference, coming from whatever little person we think we are starting as. And to me, that was so telling and so very, very important. And from that moment forward, I have not questioned for 1 minute what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, because I believe this is really, really important. And I think we need it. So, I believe, good.
I'm still working on that. I'm still working on, but it's so funny because every single time, like every time I question or every time I'm going through whatever emotions I'm going through, um, I get a client that we have some type of conversation, and then whatever I said, she's laying on the table crying, or it's always something that like just like, okay, girl, get back into it.
you
it's
know,
it's so funny you said that.
absolutely, pray for those answers because they come to you,
Hmm.
and listen. You got to like pay attention. You got to listen because the messages will come to you. It's real. It's real, and you just got to believe.
Yeah, I
You know,
agree.
yeah.
So, have you had a moment in business? Because we do question, we do have all these emotions depending on what's going on. But have you had a moment in business where it was like, you know what, this is very, very hard, and I don't know if it's gonna work, or
Oh yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can you tell us one of those moments and how you got through it and over it? What changed?
You know, I think my biggest moment really was that moment that I just told you about. That
Yeah,
was probably the worst and the hardest. I think and an answer came to me so fast.
yeah.
Like I said, I truly felt like pack in the back of the head saying,
But what
"See?"
was the hard? Was it just
Just
being able
because
to
I was at the beginning of it, I was just stepping into this idea, and it went from an idea to like, I'm going to save the world. Okay. And so, and I'm I'm a mom of many, I'm one of those people. I'm like, I can do anything. I got 6 kids, you can't scare me. I'm a mom of 5 boys.
Yes.
But yeah, I got scared because you're like, all right, first you're thinking, who's going to listen to me? I'm just just a mom. Um, I thought it was really important to raise my kids, so I stayed home. My husband and I made that decision, and I stayed home and raised my kids. Not everybody can do that. It was a sacrifice, and it was hard as hell, but it
Yeah.
was also something I wouldn't trade for the world. I would rather penny pinch and rob Peter to pay Paul, and switch shoes around, and
Yeah.
I'd
Figure
rather
things
duct tape
out.
something together than not raise them myself.
Yeah.
But there's been other times, but I will tell you that just a mom is a title I now wear proudly, because at one point I looked up, I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I looked up the definition of just, and I found that one of the adverb definitions is exactly what is needed. And so I proudly say I am just a mom, and I've got
Exactly what is needed.
exactly what is needed is one of the adverb definitions that I found. And I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, we are. Us moms are exactly what is needed in this society. Because you know what? We really, if you think about it, everybody, mom is crucial to everybody, and I feel like we have such an important role. And I feel like women we've lost the sense of why it's so important to do what we do. We've spent women, I'm saying women in general, have tried so hard over my lifetime to do what men do.
No, thank you.
Okay. Guess, but guess what?
I know.
No, we can do what they can do.
We can, but we
But you want
don't
to know
want
the problem?
to.
But
I don't.
they can't do what we do.
True.
Okay. I believe that one time I said to somebody, and somebody overheard me, and they completely misunderstood what I was saying. First of all, I'm a very strong woman. I was a college athlete. I have been a soccer coach since I got out of high school, have national coaching licenses. I coached boys for 20 years up to
Nice.
college. I was the
Nice.
only woman out there. Okay. In New Jersey, where it's kind of hard ass. So, it's kind of crazy.
Nice.
But I also, as much as I can sit here and go up against the guys on the soccer field, well, back then, not anymore, but anyway, but as and coach against them, and I believe that I can do what you can do, I can do what you can do better, but I still believe in the traditional roles. Somebody said to me one time, "Why do you want to move to Italy?" Because my whole life, I've wanted to move to Italy. Why do you want to live in Italy? So chauvinistic over there. And I started to think about it. I'm like, no, it's not. It's just that the male and female roles are more defined, and they respect each other for their jobs. Nobody messes with the Italian mother. Like
Nice.
and she works harder than anybody, but she works at the home. Over there in the village back in the day, it was like, she was feeding the chickens or killing the chicken for dinner or whatever. I mean, it's not easy work, taking care of
Right.
the hearing and doing all the stuff. The
Being
husband
a
went out.
housewife is hard work, period.
Yes, it
It's a
is.
lot of work.
I believe okay, I say the table is the foundation of society, but I think the mom really is, and the mom sets the stage of the table, you know,
Yes.
and I think we are the keepers of the home, and the home is the most important thing. And so I think we need to spend more time working on it. So I think that is what could save this country before it, falls apart. It is the bottom. We have to, you have to start, think about it. You've watched a sports movie before, whether it's a football movie or a baseball movie. You ever see The
Yes.
Sandlot, or I just watched Little Giants like before the Super Bowl. It was hilarious. The kids movie. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's
What's
fun.
the movie called when I just remember it was the big black guy and then it was a white family and they kind of adopted him. He was a
Oh yeah,
football
yeah.
player.
He's a pro player. Oh
But when you said a sports movie, I don't know why that
yeah.
movie just popped into my head.
But some of those movies where there's like the ragtag team, like the Bad News Bears, like that was like the
Okay.
famous, or something. But you have like the ragtag team, and then the new coach comes in and tries to build them up.
Right,
And what do
yes.
they always do? Every single time they get back to basics. And
Yes.
that's how they rebuild the team. Well, I think that taking those sports things that I grew up learning, playing my own sports, and then just knowing pop culture and movies and sports movies, and how does the coach come in and take the team and bring them back together, back to basics. And that's, I think, what we need to do as people, as moms, as families, as communities, as society. We need to get back to basics and realize that just the simple things like family dinner are so important.
Nice.
So, I teach people how to get their kitchens prepared for success. And to set the stage for connection and conversation at the table. And I do teach people how to cook also. But it's more important. I mean, you can learn how to cook, but it's actually harder to just get to that point. People are, oh, I don't have time. I don't know how. My kitchen's too small. My grandmother had a kitchen that probably my desk here is probably the same size as her kitchen. It was a little teeny
Oh,
galley
wow.
kitchen. It's really anything's doable. It's about desire and a little bit of organization. It really is. And these are the things I teach people. I have a course I'm launching next month. And so, that's that. So one of the things I do, because I do teach people how to cook also, for anybody that's watching, your guests, I have a free giveaway. It's basically, it's 5 recipes to get you started getting your family back to the table. So if you're to go to dorinaskitchen.com/recipes, actually, I wonder if I can I put it on this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see, exit full screen. How do I do that? Wait, I can put it in the chat, right?
You can put it in the chat, and then I don't know if it'll allow you to go back. You see how mine says Matilda's Corner
Mhm.
underneath? So under your name, they give you, like, I believe they titled it like a subtitle or something.
Yeah.
You can
Wait a
do it
minute.
there as well.
Let's see. Edit name and headline. There we go. Let's see. dorinaskitchen.com/recipes. If you go to that link, there we go. I did it.
And then
Oh,
just send me, once we're done, just message me the link, and then I'll put it wherever I have the video. Most likely it'll be on YouTube.
mhm.
I'll put it in the comments as well.
Awesome. Well, anyway, anybody wants that. So what I've got there is 5 free recipes. And then of course there's a couple little bonuses, like some little tips about conversation and things at the table and stuff.
Nice.
So anybody who wants to download that, it's there for you to get you started. Next Monday, Monday in a week and a half, the 26th, I'm going to be doing a little workshop that's going to be free. If anybody likes what they see on this, on my little giveaway here.
So
And
the workshop, are you going live, or is it,
yeah, I'm going to be live.
where are you
And
going to be live?
I'm going to be live, so it's going to be like a little webinar thingy. And
On what
I
platform? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
What platform?
Um what am I doing it on? I'm
Facebook?
going to be doing it on Zoom, probably
Oh, okay.
on Zoom, or yeah, probably on Zoom, because I like to see people's faces.
Okay.
So I'm
Sorry to
not
get
gonna,
you twisted up.
that's okay. I was like, wait a minute. Um so anyway, yeah, it's going to be Zoom so that people can, so we can all see each other. I'm going to do it in that format this time. It's just kind of a little bit fun, and it's going to be, to, if anybody wants to dive a little deeper, then we can, we're going to do a little webinar and do a little bit more teaching.
Nice.
Yeah. And then of course, I'm getting ready to go to Italy in May, and I've got groups. So if anybody's interested in going to Italy, I have the best trip where you're going to learn not just how to cook, but how to live. You're going to come back relaxed, and it's a 10-day trip. It's, and if anybody wants to contact me about that, instead of Dorina's Kitchen with the recipes on it, just go to dorinaskitchen.com. That's my regular website. And that's where you can find information about that. But, it's, I'm going to tell you a little story, because I think this just kind of shows how important all this stuff really is. I don't always share this story, but I think it's pertinent here, and I think you'll appreciate it. But, are you Italian? Can you cook? Will you marry me? Are 3 of the first things my husband asked me when we first met. And, looking back, I'm like, wow, who'd have thunk how important those words were going to be, to me. Can you cook, And of course I said, of course I can cook, what do you think? So fast forward, we had a great family. We made some promises. We both came from divorced families. We did not want that to happen to us. So we made a pact. We're never going to let that nothing come between us. We're going to work hard. We're going to have the best marriage ever. We, got married. We had our kids. We're, it's going in the right direction. But life happens. Life gets in the way sometimes, and we had a terrible tragedy in the family, and you know, it wasn't the cause of our problems, but everybody's got little problems, and it
Yeah.
just made everything bubble to the surface and make it seem like it was one big problem for us. And we ended up separating.
Sorry.
And we were separated for 3 years. Now, during that time, I had no idea if it was going to come back. I was hoping, I was praying. In my heart, I thought it would, but you never know. But what happened was shortly after we separated, and the beginning's always a little turmoil, but he started coming home every Sunday for Sunday dinner with the family.
Nice.
And that went on for those, couple of years, but always Sunday dinner, he was there. Now, when I look back, I realize that besides the lifeline of God and prayer for me, because that's what kept me sane and kept me going, and I believe helped me get through everything. But I realized that table, that Sunday dinner, was a true lifeline for us, and it really kept us connected.
That's all you guys had in that time period.
That's it. And it really, and I think it was good for the kids, and it was good for me and him, because after 3 years, he was back, and we kind of fell right back into life again.
Aw.
And we've been married 34 years now.
Congratulations.
I know, don't look that old, and I got to wear glasses, but
30 years. Like
34.
every time I hear about, I can't even, well, so I was married for 5 years, a little over 5 years. But marriage is tough. Like
Yeah,
it's hard. So
it's not easy.
when people tell me they've been married for long periods of time, I'm just like blown away. Like, what? Like, so of course I would love to have a long-term marriage, but like, can I really imagine that?
I'll tell you, it's funny. When I was younger and I'd run across these people who'd been married a long time, I'm like, oh my God, how did you get that long without killing them?
Seriously.
And I was just like, what?
Yes, that's for
But
real.
yeah, but he's my best friend,
Yeah.
and we get along great. We have our moments, like anybody does who lives together.
Yeah.
You're gonna have disagreements. You're gonna be like, man, you finished the coffee, why didn't you save me a cup? Or what,
Hmm.
stupid things that are
Hmm.
not the things that divorce is made of. And
Yeah.
I think that we've become such a disposable society that we think, well, I'll get rid of this one and I'll get another one. Guess what?
It's the
You
same
know,
thing.
just like guys think all of us women are the same, they're all the same too. And women are going to be women and men are going to be men. And one of the things that I think, because of this, like I was saying, how we have like this lonely society because we don't come together. Um, what I feel is that, like, when I spent a year living in Italy with my 6 kids back in 2005 and 6. One of the things that me and the other moms did almost every day, we'd walk the kids, because my daughter was in preschool. So we walked the little kids to school. The big kids were gone already. And us moms would walk down to the piazza, the town square, and we'd go to one of the little bars. Well, they call it a bar, it's like a cafe. We'd go get a little cappuccino and maybe a little croissant or something, and we'd sit there and talk for like 15-20 minutes. Nothing crazy. It's a little bit of, oh, my husband this, my kids that, what are you making for dinner? We always talked about the food.
Yeah.
And then we went our merry way. Who went to the butcher, who went to the post office, who went to get some fruits and vegetables from the guy in the truck in the middle of town. And then we'd wave in the middle of the street again or something. We'd go home. But you started your day with some human connection.
Yeah. Community.
So here's
I love that.
the funny part. When I got back, here I'm back in New Jersey now after spending a year in Italy. And after about 2 weeks of being in my house, because when our society's weird, live in our four walls of our homes. I was like going, I'm like 2 weeks ago, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going crazy here. I'm going to go crazy. So like, it was like, I don't know, a little while and the kids were going to be home. And I'm like, I called a friend. I'm like, hey, I said, you want to meet me at Dunkin' for a quick coffee? And she goes, oh, I don't have time. How about
Like,
like
girl,
next
I'm busy.
Thursday? She's like, how about next Thursday? This was a Tuesday. So she's putting it out for a week and a half. And I'm like, whoa, I'm not asking you for a 2-hour coffee date.
Right.
I just want to go get a quick cup of coffee and see somebody's face in person. And she was like, oh, yeah, I could do that. It was like I had to teach my friends, like, you know what, how about 15 minutes more often instead of 2 hours once every 3 months?
Right.
It's so much easier to do. And
Yeah.
it's so much healthier. So this is what people see when they come with me to Italy. I tell people, you're now an ambassador for the Roseto effect. When you come with me on the trip, like, you got to go home, you got to cook, you got to invite people over, you got to go and walk around, your neighbors. Community is everything. It keeps
Yeah.
us all whole and keeps us sane. So,
Nice.
it's really, really, I think it's really important.
Nice.
Yeah.
I absolutely love, love, love your story.
Thank you.
Um, so the idea for me for this podcast, my hopes for this podcast is to allow other people, people that are maybe just getting started, people that are scared to start, they really want to do something, but
Mhm.
fear is just so deeply rooted. So my idea is to allow them to hear other people's stories, to look at us or whoever is here and say, if she or he is doing it, I can do it. If she's doing
Yep.
that, I can do that. So what do you have to say to the girl, to the lady, to the woman or man, that is either afraid, intimidated, or they've started, but business is business. So it's like you
Yep.
have to put in the work, and I don't think people have that understanding of when we first get started how much work this is. So
Yeah.
what do you have to say to that person?
I have a lot to say. I'll keep it short. No, first thing I'm going to do is say don't quit. It is really easy to say, you know what, let me just go get a job or do whatever, something else. When you have a feeling inside of you that you're supposed to be doing something, some kind of business, and you find that thing, first of all, sit down and really, I tell people, make a list, write down everything that you're interested in, and then kind of go through that list and say, could I make a business out of this? Could I see myself doing this long? Really focus on something that one, you know how to do, or that you want to learn how to do. If it's not something that you have a passion about, it's going to be a lot harder to make that business go. So
Yes.
find something that you're really interested in, first of all, and then just don't quit. Um, look and listen for the messages, like when it's the right time. Cause like I was seeking for, I can't tell you, years and years and years. Like I would be driving in the car by myself and I'd be crying. I'm like feeling unfulfilled in some way, even though I was totally fulfilled with my family, but there
Yeah.
was always something else. And I'd be crying. I'm like, God, what am I supposed to do? Send me a message. Tell me what to do, because I didn't have anybody else to tell me what to do.
Right.
And I didn't really want anybody to tell me what to do. And I did try a bunch of things that I liked, but they weren't the right thing. And they were good for the moment. But when this one happened and it came on me, I knew. It's kind of like falling in love. You're going to know when it's the right thing. And then, just like a relationship, you got to work at it. You got to practice. And so for me in business, practicing is continually learning. So I am the queen of taking every webinar, every online course, every little course or a night class or whatever, everybody I can learn from. I networked like crazy. I went to networking meetings, not necessarily to network because I didn't really know what I was offering yet at the beginning. Um, and I didn't know how to do that 30-second elevator pitch, like, hi, my name's Dorina, and this is what I do. This is who I am and why I'm doing it, and blah, blah, blah. And this is my product. And it's hard to do, and it's really scary at first, but you
Yes.
got to do it. And so I urge you to find, like, maybe start with an online networking group. They're all over the place now. Since COVID, I'll tell you, COVID, I got good at it because I started doing my Facebook Live show. because my husband was working in his office. My kids, two of my college kids were home from school, and I'm sitting in the middle of it. I can't go anywhere. Can't have anybody over. And like, what am I going to do? And I went online. And what I found is, I'll give you a tip too. If you're going to do videos of any sort for whatever reason, for promoting yourself, go live. And I'll tell you why. Because I tried making videos for years, and I'm like, I'm doing a video and I'm talking to the camera. It's just a camera. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh, that sucked. Let me start. Okay, start over. Okay, do it again. Okay, up, start over. And you know what? Because you're trying to do it perfect because it's being captured on video. When I turned the live camera on, I realized, I'm like, you see the little light go on. I can't read what they're saying from across the room, but I see that there's somebody there, and all of a sudden it's just a conversation.
Yep.
We don't sit here and worry about what we're saying in a conversation.
Yep.
So I found going live was really a lot easier because I'm just being me. I have a blooper reel. It's hilarious because I screw up on live all the time.
I think live taught me, because that one during COVID, I did the same thing. I had just got out of esthetician school. And I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? Like, what's next? So my job is, what I gave myself was to get up every day, get dressed, go outside, get on live, give yourself a facial, and then whatever office work I had to do, I just stayed on live the whole time.
Yeah.
But it got me at first. It was so, like, I would be giving myself a facial, and once I would recognize that I'm sitting here talking to strangers on my camera, like giving
With all the
myself a
stuff on your
facial,
face.
it was the funniest thing. Like, I cannot believe this is what I do for work. Like, I quit my job to like do this. So
Yeah.
for a long time, it was just super funny for me. But that got me used to like getting in front of the camera, or like being comfortable with not being perfect. Like,
Yeah.
nothing that I do is super polished, and I'm like, well, this is me. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not super perfect, and like, a lot of ladies, face full of makeup and hair done and nails and lash, that is not me at all. So I just feel like, let your personality shine,
Yeah.
whatever that may be.
Absolutely. You're so right. And doing what you're doing, and just being real and being natural and being yourself. You know, I've seen so many, videos of, other, whether it's chefs doing cooking or other life coaches or whatever, and they're all trying to be so perfect. And you know what? How do
It's
you connect
uncomfortable.
with somebody who's perfect?
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. I'm so far from perfect. I'm good at a bunch of things and I try to share them, but even the things I'm good at, I screw up. The other day, on Tuesday, actually, I did a live video, cooking video, and I was, it was, like carnivale, they call it. It's Mardi Gras, basically, day before, Fat Tuesday. And then
Yeah.
there's these little Italian, there's these little donuts that, you just make the dough and you put it in hot oil and they fry real quick and you sprinkle them with sugar. Well, I'm doing all this talking and the oil's getting hot. I got it too hot. So the first dough I dropped, because I was kind of not paying attention because I was too busy starting my video and talking about, it's last day of, Carnivale, and we're starting Lent tomorrow, and it's Valentine's Day, and I'm talking about all these things. So the oil got hot, and I put the first pieces of dough, like the first little batch, in like 4 little balls
And
of
burnt the
dough.
donuts.
Oh my God, like in 2 seconds. I mean, like they literally sizzled so much, and I could see them they just turned black almost instantly. They
Oh,
burnt.
how funny. So
And
was
I'm
the
like,
camera on the
oh yeah,
grease,
no,
or
I'm
was
I'm on live, and I pulled them out of the oil, and I'm like, well, okay, so make
don't do
sure
that.
you don't let the oil get too hot, you know. And so then, of course, though, it became a lesson also about, number one, you're gonna screw up sometimes. It's okay, because
Hmm.
there's people who watch me who can't cook and they're trying to learn how to cook. And I'm like, don't be afraid if you make a mistake, because that means you're not going to make the same mistake next time. You might make
Nope.
a different
That was
mistake, but
your
you're not going to make
lesson.
that one.
Yep.
And, just don't be discouraged. And it's the same for business. Don't get discouraged if you screw up. If you do a podcast that goes wrong, or you do a recipe that you burn the things, or, I've done some stupid things on camera. I was showing people it was like a tart I made, and I held it up to the camera so they could see it. And the whole thing just flopped right up. It's
And you still and see, and when you're live and when you're on camera, you just got to keep going. It's like
yeah,
real
you
life.
do.
Like you just got to figure it out and keep going as you like whatever you decide to do. I remember I was giving myself a facial on live one time, and I thought it was rose water, and I had a little sample size of spearmint,
Oh
like
God.
essential oil, yes, and I sprayed it in my face, and I just kept my eyes closed. Like I'm freaking out on the inside. When I went back and looked at the video, I looked nothing like how I felt. Like I was nice and calm. I was just like, I can't believe I sprayed my face with that. I'm in on the inside, I'm like completely freaking out.
No, that's
But you
funny.
just gotta keep pushing.
Yeah. That reminds me, there's a type of, like, we use baking powder here to for baking goods. There's this stuff called ammonium carbonate that they use in Europe and Italy, and it's an ammonia base, so it smells like ammonia. And I got this antique recipe from this 93-year-old lady in my village. These like big breakfast cookies, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it authentic. So I ordered this stuff from Amazon, right? Well, my normal habit when I get a drink or get food, I always smell everything. So
Oh,
I'm
girl.
talking live and I had not opened this thing yet. So I got the little bottle and I'm opening it up and I'm talking away and I open it and just out of habit, I opened it and I put it up to, oh my God, like the kind of feeling you had. But this was like the smell went. So it's like, it smelled like those things that, like, when you're unconscious and they break those little things and
Oh,
the
and it'll
smelling
wake
salts.
you up.
Oh my God. It was so bad. And I wanted to just fall down behind the kitchen counter. I just wanted to get away, but I'm live. And so I started laughing, but I couldn't do anything else. I'm like, oh, don't do that. It's really strong. And I'm trying not to show how strong,
Oh
but that was the
my
only thing I could do was laugh.
God.
So I had friends in Italy who saw the video. They started laughing and sent
Because
me
they
voice.
knew the real.
Oh my God, they know for real. It was funny. But that again, just the fact when you're real, and this is about business now, if you're really your true real self and you show that to a potential client or just anybody out there who might potentially recommend you to somebody, they're going to say, you know what, go to her because she's real and she's going to tell you like it is. She's going to be authentic. She's going to be herself. And people who you're real with, they feel like, I have people who like think of me as a friend from watching my show. I've never met them, and they write
Dang.
me messages like we're
Mhm.
buds. And we've
Yes.
become friendly online, but I don't know them. And they feel like they know me and they feel like they're comfortable and they feel like they're in my kitchen. These are the comments I've gotten. And so when they feel like they know you, then they trust you. And when they trust you, those are the people that want to do business with you.
And that was
And
my thing, my reasoning, because no, I'm like, no one knows who I am. I wasn't
mhm,
doing this when the world was open. So like, and I'm doing it in my backyard. Like my studio is literally in my backyard. So like, that was the thing. If they don't know you, they're not going to spend any money with you.
mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
Know you and trust you. So just go out there, do what you love, be yourself, and don't give up because it will happen. But I do recommend getting as much education and learn from everybody you can. As soon as you think you know it all, you know nothing.
Period.
Because as soon as you
Yes.
think you know it all, you stop learning because you think you know it all. Watch every
There's so
YouTube
much
video.
to learn.
Watch every YouTube video. If you want something that somebody else has, ask them how they got it.
Yep.
So you see a business person who's successful, go talk to them. Go ask them, how did you do that? Can you give me one secret? If you get one secret, it's not a secret, but get one tip from whoever you meet, you're going to end up with an arsenal of your own tips that, one, you're going to use that'll help you in your business, and two, that you're going to then share, and then you'll be the mentor.
Yep.
So
I get a lot of calls from ladies that either are in esthetician school, want to go to esthetician school, and I give them whatever I have to give. Like I feel like whatever's for you will be for you, whatever's for me is for me. So I always make that open space when people call me and ask me stuff because I
good.
know how it feels to be in that
It
space.
is. And there's enough business out there for all of us.
It
You
is. It
don't
really
have to be
is.
stingy. And the more you give, believe me, it comes back to you in spades. The more
I
you
agree.
give, and we don't give to receive, but you know what? We give and it feels good. And we know
Yeah.
we're helping somebody out. And in the end, it does come back to us
Yeah,
somehow or
it
another. It
does.
comes back to
We're
you.
here to give. That's why we're here to
Yeah.
give.
We're not here for ourselves. I mean, really, what are we supposed to do? And it's not like who leaves, who dies with the most toys wins. No, we're all,
We can't take it
there's,
with us.
you ever seen that meme? You ever seen that meme? There's like a shack and a mansion. Okay, rich man, poor man, and then underneath is two graves, rich man, poor man. Guess what? Those are the
Same
same.
thing.
We're all going the same place in the end.
Yep,
So
same thing.
it's just do good for people, and your business will grow. I
I love
believe
that.
that with all my heart. So get back to the table, everybody. That's so important. And I think if you're, like I said, going back to your home life will help your business life. So, and on top of that, all important things in our lives happen at the table. We decide who we're going to marry, or what college we're going to go to, or if we're not going to go to college, what school, or what job, or I failed a test, let's talk about it, or a business deal. Where do big business deals happen? Over the table, when you break bread with another person. So
Yep.
it's important. So it's a good lesson that they start as kids, and it goes through life, and we continue it, and it goes into the rest of our lives. So
I love that. I absolutely love your story.
thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. I know we had a little bit of a set, well, it seemed like a setback, but everything worked out perfectly.
Everything happens the way it's supposed to.
Yes, God's timing, God's plan, all of it.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
am so grateful that you are here. Thank you so very much. Is there anything else extra that you would like to share? How could they find you on your socials? How could you be contacted if they want to contact you?
Well, as I said before, Dorina's Kitchen, if you just Google Dorina's Kitchen, and Dorina spelled with an I, it's right there. I've got my dorinaskitchen.com website. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. They're trying to get me on TikTok. We'll see if that happens.
Get on TikTok.
I have a couple little videos, but we're
You
working.
will
We'll
do
see.
amazing on TikTok. You have the personality for TikTok, and people
Yeah,
love watching cooking stuff on
but
TikTok.
my problem is I talk too long. I don't know if I can do that little minute thing.
No, right now I just the last time I opened TikTok, it said introducing now 15 minutes. You can do a video
Oh,
up to 15 minutes
oh,
long now.
really? Oh, maybe I
Yes.
could do.
Yes. So
I might get
it's a
away with
little
that.
different. And you have
I
content, I'm sure. You can just
Oh,
take
I
the
got
content that you
content.
already have and
I
start
got
posting over
content.
there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have my in on March 13th will be my 4th anniversary of my show.
Nice.
So I'm really
Congratulations
excited. That's
again. You are doing
really,
numbers in marriage, in business, in your show.
yep, doing it.
I
So
love it.
anyway, please look me up. You can all my contact information you can find on my website at dorinaskitchen.com, via my Facebook, via my Instagram. You can contact me, and if you want to sign up for these free recipes to get yourself started, and they're easy to do, no problem. Go to dorinaskitchen.com, /recipes, and then you can download those. And with that, and if you're interested, you can either contact me via one of those other means, or by way of this. I'll have your email, and I'll be letting you know when we're going to do the workshop, and you can jump in on that if you're interested in diving deeper on learning some of the tips and tricks that kept my family together, that I can share with you, so you can keep your family a tight unit. Because you know what? Your kids are only kids this long, but they're adults the rest of their lives. So
I
I
love
don't
it.
care about being their best friend when they're a kid. I want to raise them right, teach them, be firm, because people always ask me, how'd you get your kids to the table? And I said, I put the food on the table, and I said, that's where you're sitting to eat. That's it. We gotta be firm. But I didn't care about being their best friend then. It's about now I've got adult children that I love hanging out with, and they're cool,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So it's really important. So look me up, and let's save the world one table at a time.
One table at a time. Thank
Together.
you so much, Dorina.
Thank
Um,
you.
I,
This was
I
really
will. I'm sorry.
a joy. Thank
Oh,
you.
me too. I know. I really enjoyed talking to you. But thank you so much for showing up again. And I will be messaging you soon for all of your information. And
Awesome.
have a
All
good
right.
night. I know it's late there. Get some rest.
That's all right. I'm looking a little tired and pale tonight, but that's all right. We're good,
You
right?
look cute, girl.
I tried. just for you. All
Thank
right. Well, you have a
you.
good night out there in LA, and
Thank
I'm here.
you.
I'm out here out back east, and I'm in Delaware right now. From
Nice.
yeah, I'm originally from DC and lived in New Jersey for 22 years, but
Oh,
now we're in
nice. I used to
Delaware.
live in Virginia,
Okay, where at?
Hampton. When I was
Oh,
married, my husband was Air Force. So,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I got family down in Virginia Beach, so
nice. Right next door.
yep. All right. Well,
All right. Well,
all right.
have a good night.
Have a good night. Good night, everybody watching. Hope you all got something out of this. Ciao.
This was wonderful. Bye.
Bye bye.
This was a fun night. So this was season 2, episode 4. Um, the great thing about this is that I am getting to talk to people. I know I mentioned it before, but it is nothing more great for me to talk to people that are in business that I don't know. But just having certain conversations with people, I learn so much. Um, I get different I got an idea from talking to her. So I'm excited about that. But this has been like a wonderful podcast. I'm super excited about the rest of the season. I'm super excited. I have a couple more people for the rest of this week and a couple people for next week. So I'm enjoying the process. Don't forget to thank God for your blessings. Don't forget to say your prayers. Don't forget to take care of your skin. And don't forget to get it done. Get it done podcast with Erin. Bye.